Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast number 59 for December 20th, 2017. On today's show, we're talking people watching, the Office revival, UFO sightings, and the possible return of the XFL. You can chat with us on Twitter at Average Nobodies, toss us a like on Facebook at Average Nobodies, and heart all of our pictures on Instagram at Average Nobodies. Don't forget, this podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. My name is Matt, and here with me, as always, is...
I was never given a name.
Never given a name, but if you want to call him anything, you can call him Felipe.
Yes, Little Felipe.
Little Felipe.
Like the L-I-L with the hyphen, not the whole word.
Of course. Is there any other way to spell little?
There's actually not. There's only one way.
It's in the Webster's Dictionary.
Very good. Very true. Yep. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I just had a bunch of wings, so I'm fat and happy sitting on my podcasting stool, ready to dive into today's topics. This is our first podcast in a while where we don't have any TV clubs, but honestly, it's what a week to not have TV club, because we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about. We got tons of people watching. We're talking about The Office possibly coming back, or maybe now definitely coming back, UFO sightings, and the XFL possible return.
Yeah, I mean, it really lined up pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
Got a lot of other stuff.
How about you, Ryan? What are you up to? How you been?
I've been good. Went to New York City this past weekend.
Ooh.
Always great to be in the Big Apple around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think certain people, especially if you're not from the Northeast or even the East Coast, like they have this perception of New York as this like tough, rude, like, you know, screw you type of city. Like you're just gonna go in and get eaten alive. And like there are people like that, and it is a culture shock if you're not used to. I mean, it's as big city gets.
Mm-hmm. And
you know, like there's certain parts that are dirty and there's certain parts that are a little sketchy. But I love New York in the wintertime. I mean, if you're not in the Christmas spirit, by the time you get there, when you see the tree, like just I don't know, it just really puts me in the Christmas spirit, and I love it. And I had a great time. Holly and I met some friends, Tom and Ashley, who came up from South Carolina, and it was a wonderful time. I partook in a few libations. I had one or two beers.
One or two?
Just
a couple. Yeah.
Just a couple. And we ended up going to this place called the Karaoke Cave.
Okay.
So we were at a bar, and we were asking the bartender, we're like, you know, we want to sing karaoke. Like, well, where can we go? She's like, well, the Karaoke Cave. We're like, all right, Karaoke Cave. Like, just pulls out our tab. That was it.
It's a great name.
It is, and it was legitimately like a cave. I mean, the New York bars are so cool because they're not just like bars you walk into, like off the street. Like, you know, you go to bars in Rhode Island, you're just like going from the parking lot into the bar. Like in New York, you're like going downstairs into a side room, and all of a sudden you open it up, and there's this huge, you know, place, because like all the buildings in New York are so old. They were built God knows when. It kind of reminded me, like, not as grungy, but it's like, you know, the Deuce. Like in the Deuce, it's like sunken in, you know, the bar and everything. So it was really cool. As you know, my go-to song is Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
So I sang my heart out. And then I was approached by a couple guys afterwards who asked me to sing a duet with them. Or one guy asked me to sing a duet with him. I was like, absolutely, I'll do it. And then, I don't know, like when I realized it was I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men. That was the duet that the person had chose.
But I was late.
Into it. It was too late. I was already singing, like I can't stop now. And then I like to get the audience involved. So I was fake choking this woman and fake wrestling her, and she was not pleased. She was very, very upset. Holly had to intervene, luckily on my behalf, and you know, because the woman was mad. Then she was talking shit, and which I can't. It's tough to blame her, I guess.
Some people just don't get it. Some people just
don't get it. They just don't get it.
They don't get it.
But it was a great time. Had a great night. It was a lot of fun. Then Sunday morning we went to brunch. This place called Pennsylvania on 6th. And another reason to love New York And for Rhode Islanders, it kind of stinks. Like, we don't have happy hour deals. We don't have like special Sunday deals. It stinks. Like, you can't do special pricing, especially with alcohol. In New York, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So we went, and the deal was for $30, you get 2 hours unlimited Bloody Marys, mimosas, Bellinis, and something else, and an entree and a meal.
That's so a fantastic deal.
Oh, it was unbelievable. So I had 5 or 6 Bloody Marys. I got their breakfast pizza, and it was like a white pizza with cheese, home fries, bacon, and something else. It was unbelievable.
That sounds
but awesome. It was delicious. And then the restaurant had a Santa Claus, like just this guy dressed as Santa Claus who's going around in character. I mean, I'll give him that. He was very dedicated to the character. So Holly and I were eating, and he like walked over, and he's, in the Santa Claus voice, he's like, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas." Like, "Oh, Merry Christmas." And then he looks over to Holly, and he's like, "Oh, you're a thirsty girl." And we're like, "What? What do you mean?" It was because like I had just gotten a refill of my drink, so mine was full, but hers was like at the bottom. So I guess he just assumed she had just chugged her drink, and we were like, "Oh, you've ruined Santa Claus for us now." It's a very creepy thing to say, but it's creepier in the Santa Claus voice, like, in the like the "ho ho ho, you're a thirsty girl." It's like, oh god. That's New York City ended, but it was
Hello?
Are you dying?
What?
Are you dying?
I swallowed some water the wrong way, but I don't know. Okay. I think I'm okay now. Okay. Continue, please.
No, that's kind of how the weekend ended. It started with karaoke cave and ended with with Santa Claus calling my fiance a thirsty girl.
It started with "I'll make love to you" duet, and then the bad Santa. That's hilarious.
Hey, you never know. Water's dangerous. People don't think it's that dangerous. It can get you.
It got me. I'll tell you what. It got me. So I had quite an experience over I guess it was end of the week last week. I was in the car on my way home from work, and I'm in traffic. So it's like bumper to bumper traffic on 95, and I like went to go change the radio. And I think I was leaning over and doing something, and a sneeze just came out of nowhere. And I sneezed, and like when I tell you, like my hand and my face were just covered in snots. Like, it was bad. It was just like it was an unexpected sneeze, and also an unexpected like that type of sneeze. I didn't realize I was that congested. And so I'm like so I'm like, I got all these snots in my hands. Sorry to be very graphic about this, but I got all these snots in my hands, and I'm like looking down, and I'm like in shock for a second. I'm like not sure what to do. So I like go to reach for my glove box, and I grab the tissues out of the glove box, and I go back to wipe up, and I look up to see if the traffic has moved. And to the left of me, there's a car perfectly in line with me in the next lane over, and it's this girl, and she's just looking at me like she just saw a fucking murder scene. Like, she just saw someone be murdered and her blood spilled all over the highway. She looked just like terrified. And then I looked in front of her, and she was so terrified and so taken back by what just occurred that the people in front of her had started moving, and her car was just stopped still, and she was just like staring past my eyes into my soul. Like that, and I'm just sitting there with all these fucking boogers in my hands, and it was not a great time. It was an interesting time. At that point I had no shame, because I was just like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, this is what it is. This is what happened here. This is traffic on 95. Welcome to hell.
I feel like at that point you kind of have to be in like fight or flight mode. Like, you need to save yourself at that point. You can't be worried about what other people think. You're just like, yeah. I need to make a change.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, listen, if you're lucky, you never see me again, and you never see me sneeze all over myself ever again. That just keep driving. That's all that can happen here. So I cleaned myself up. I wrapped the tissue up, threw it in a bag, and I continued on with my commute home. But it was hilarious. It was almost comical. Like, if I wasn't so shocked at like, what the hell am I gonna do with all this shit in my hands, it would have been funny. But now it's, obviously now it's funny. So
it's a very vulnerable place to be, sneezing in the car.
Yeah, it is very vulnerable. And also, like, you go through that when something happens like that, or like you spill something on yourself in the car, or you sneeze like that, you go through this like panic because you're like, oh shit, do I have tissues in the glove box? Do I have something that I can wipe this up with? Like, or am I just gonna have to sit here with like just wipe it on myself? So luckily, I keep Dunkin' Donuts napkins in my glove box at all times, for a reason, and this was that reason. They came in handy. And speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, so I have a new commute to work. I just started a new job a few weeks ago. My new commute includes a Dunkin' Donuts, thank God, because if I need to get a coffee in the morning, that's where I stop. But it's a little bit out of the way. So I'm usually in a rush when I go to this Dunkin' Donuts because I need to get what I'm getting and then head into work. And if I'm running late, I don't want to, dilly-dally. So I go inside because there's usually not a big line inside. People like to sit in the drive-thru forever, but they would rather not get out of their cars and get a coffee in 1 minute rather than wait 30 minutes in a fucking line. So anyway, I go in the Dunkin' Donuts, and this is like the first time I was in there, and I walk up to the counter. Nobody else is in the Dunkin' Donuts with me. Not one other person. I walk up to the counter, and the lady goes, "What can I get you?" And I said, "I would like a sausage, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel." And she goes, "Oh, no, sorry. I only do coffees." And then I was like, "Excuse me?"
Like her personally, or?
And so I didn't know. So I said, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Are you getting a coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What coffee would you like?" So I told her what I wanted for a coffee. And then I was like, "Okay, but what about the sandwich?" She goes, "Oh, someone else will take that order." And I'm like, I feel like this is just not efficient at all. It's like, why are two different people taking sandwich orders and coffee orders? It's not a thing. So then the lady comes over to the counter and she's like, "So a medium hot coffee, is that it?" I go, "No, I'd like a breakfast sandwich as well." And so she like put in my order for the breakfast sandwich. But I just thought it was strange. It's like, there's nobody else in there. Like, you couldn't just take the breakfast sandwich order? I don't know. It didn't anyway. So, but every morning now I go in there, when I go in there to get something, every time that lady asks me what I want, I always tell her a breakfast sandwich. I will break her one of these days. I will break her. She will get me the sausage, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel, what I requested. She will do that one day.
One day.
I will update you all when that happens. But I just can't understand that. It's like one of those stupid, like, think to yourself, lady, why is that the way things are working here? Is it just a rule you have? Is like, are we not doing? Are we just like? Is it just like, think about it? You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
That sounds like more of a personal choice than a Dunkin' Donuts rule.
Yeah, it can't be a Dunkin' Donuts rule. I've never come across that in my life. I've never heard of that before, ever. I only do coffee. Excuse me? It's like, you're not even the one making the sandwich. There's someone standing near the sandwich station. Just
right. All you got to do is take the order.
All you got to do is turn your head and say, "Hey, I need a sausage, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel." Like, that's it. That's it. And then you'd be like, "Would you like a coffee as well?" Yeah, I would like a coffee as well. Thank you. No. Anyway, that's my story. Sneezing all over myself, and I'm dangerously close to being banned from a Dunkin' Donuts.
So things are going well.
Things are going very well. It's Christmas. So, all right. Let's get into our first major topic here. So, the NBC is thinking about bringing The Office back.
Yes.
The Americanized version of The Office. The Office that we know and love. I mean, we know very well and love dearly.
I was literally just watching it before we got on.
Yeah, I mean, it's always in my. If you go on my Netflix, I don't think there's ever been a time since I've had Netflix that it hasn't said continue watching and have The Office in that slot, like, because that's just what I'm always watching. So what they're saying is Michael Scott will not be back. Obviously that's bad. Whenever you not have Steve Carell on The Office, it's not as good as it could be. But we understand, right? I didn't think we thought that Michael Scott was going to be back, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just
out of the question.
It is. And it's more of like just Steve Carell being busy. It's not like he's sitting at home like refusing to do it. At the same time, I don't know if he'd want to. Like, he left after season 7 and wasn't there until the finale. He didn't stop in once in a while, which I'm sure NBC tried to get him to come back because, people weren't as happy with the later seasons as they were with him. But he didn't come back until it actually fit the story, being Dwight's bestest mensch.
Yeah.
So I can see him, like, for the most part, it's because he's too busy. But also, I mean, Michael Scott's an iconic character and will be forever. So there's no need to come back just for the hell of it.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean to say that I don't think that he will have a cameo.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, I feel like that's right in his wheelhouse. And even though the Michael Scott character had a great send-off in the series finale, I think that bringing him back doesn't hurt it at all. You know what I mean? If you bring the show back, having him Skype in or something, or even show up at the office wouldn't be out of the question. For sure.
And at this point, I mean, it's not like it is just rumors for now.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, it's pretty. It seems like it's pretty much a lock. I mean, you haven't had confirmation from NBC. You haven't had confirmation from Greg Daniels, who was one of the creators and the guy who Americanized Ricky Gervais's version. So
yeah. So now the other thing that they were saying, part of the rumor is that some old characters and some new characters would be in it if the show was going to happen. What characters would we like to come back to the office for a new show? Ryan, do you want to do your 3 and I'll do my 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my 3, I did 2 oldies and a newer one. So basically, when we say originals, it's season 1, and
right.
then you had anyone post season 1 would be considered a newer person.
Okay.
I'm going Pam. Pam was always kind of the Pam and Jim storyline, fueled the show for the first 4 seasons.
Yeah.
She was always the heart of the show in a way. I really, Pam's one of those underrated characters that you kind of took for granted because she was there.
Yeah.
But you kind of, when you go back and watch some of these, she was really integral. Just the way she treated Michael, the way she treated Dwight.
Yeah.
I really, really like Pam, so I would want her back. Dwight, more so than Jim. Just because the way that the only part of The Office I didn't like in the later seasons was trying to make Pam and Jim a TV couple.
Yeah.
They have to fight, they have to have issues. Why?
Yeah.
They never did. That wasn't the point of the show. I'm not watching The Office to see if Pam and Jim are going to get divorced.
Yeah, that turn for Pam and Jim was strange, because I think if you kept them happy-go-lucky the entire series, that also works and works better than what they did towards the end. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily need both of them back, but Dwight, I don't know, because Dwight, I think more than anyone would make the most sense. Dwight Schrute is not leaving Dunder Mifflin. Dwight Schrute is working at Dunder Mifflin. He will be buried in his orange shirt, his mustard shirt, whatever. So he would make the most sense to be yeah, I'm still here and happy about it and probably making a shit ton on commission. And, I think him being there would make sense. It would kind of be cool to, even though they did it briefly, but kind of show him as the manager, regional manager or something.
Yeah.
And then good old GSL. Gabriel Susan Lewis.
Need GSL.
Just more for Zach Woods, the actor, because he's unreal.
Oh, he's so funny.
He's so funny. And he took definitely what could have been a minuscule role in another actor's hands and just he couldn't stop watching Gabe. He was so funny. Yeah,
I was gonna put Gabe on my list, but when I saw it as one of yours, I figured I'm not gonna double up here because that's just a given. Need Gabe to come back. And I think that the way he comes back will be the funniest part of it too, because he's not working at Dunder Mifflin by the end of the last season, right? He got removed, right?
Yes. Right.
Yeah, so it'll be funny, what is the reason he's back at Dunder Mifflin? And I think that would be funny. So, yeah, those are 3 great ones. And I was going to say before we started, honestly, if we had the choice, we'd bring back everybody, obviously.
Yes.
Because that office chemistry was just so good. Everybody had a role to play. And you were saying Pam was a very important role on her own, even without Jim, like you were saying. Some of the best Michael gags include Pam.
Yeah.
The episode where Pam explains that when Michael's in a meeting, sometimes he likes to have her bring a Post-it note with a little smiley face on it or a little note, but making it seem like it's an important message. And Jan was impressed by that, that, but it was just a smiley face or whatever. I thought that was that's a funny Pam Michael Scott moment. Or when Pam's explaining how Michael comes in and acts like his favorite person from a movie he just watched. Or how Michael loves his yeah. Steak. Get Armani on the phone. Get him on the phone. And then like how Michael loves his jeans. That episode, like all Pam like driven gags. So definitely Pam is integral. My three.
Sorry, before you go,
Yeah.
before you keep going, but because she made Michael Scott work to a degree too, because if you have the assistant or the receptionist who's always working with his boss, if she kind of blows him off or doesn't play along, it's not funny.
Right.
Like it wouldn't be funny to have her be like, "Oh, he's dumb, he's an idiot." It's funny because she's like, "Look, I know what he's doing is silly, but I'm here for 8 hours. This is my job.
Yeah.
I might as well play along with it." And that's what made it so great. So
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
So my three are, again, I did two old and one of the newer characters. I have Kevin and Oscar. I had to say them together because I feel like just like how Pam and Michael work off of each other and make funny gags, I think Kevin and Oscar are a dynamic duo that cannot be split up. I would even put them, I know that there's a lot of there's that threesome, Angela, Kevin and Oscar, but I don't think you need to have Angela included in that. I think you could easily just do it with Kevin and Oscar. When one of the best moments, funniest moments on The Office for me is when Oscar comes back from his, when he finds out he's gay and Michael kisses him and all that shit, which is hilarious. And Oscar goes away for a while because the company pays him off so he wouldn't sue him. And he comes back and Kevin's like, "How was your gaycation?" And Oscar's like, "How long did that take you to come up with?" He goes, "I started working on that as soon as you left." so I thought they're so funny. And one of the best cold opens of The Office ever is Kevin with his chili.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of the things I do best. He's talking over this visual of him spilling the chili all over the ground and grabbing folders and papers trying to scoop it back in. Meanwhile, he's given the recipe, how he chops the onions and roasts the chilies himself. Oh, classic. So I need Kevin and Oscar. Need them. I also really enjoyed Clark, and that's not I don't think that's a popular opinion among fans of The Office, but I liked Clark a lot, and I think he would have something to bring as now he's not the newbie anymore, and he's he's trying to haze a newer, younger person, like how Dwight tried to haze him, and then but Dwight and the older guys are still hey, Clark, you're still what'd they call him, Plop? No, they call Dwight
Plop.
Jr.
Yeah. Pete was Plop or something.
Yeah, Pete was Plop. So those are my three: Kevin, Oscar, Clark.
Because like you said, I mean, we ideally it's you just want everyone to be back, and I was looking at a list of people, and they kind of ranked them from zero chance to why wouldn't they come back. So you had the people like Creed and Meredith and Stanley and Phyllis, obviously they would come back. They're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
They would all be back. But then you got Andy, probably Ed Helms is kind of a big, decently sized movie star. Same with John Krasinski.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd be able to come back, but you could get all the side characters. I mean, you could get Jan, you could get David Wallace.
Oh, definitely get what's his name? Andy. What is David Wallace's real name? He's always doing podcast interview. He's a zany, crazy guy in real life.
Is he?
Yeah. He goes on Pardon My Take sometimes. He's a recurring guest on Pardon My Take, and he is a wild guy. He's really funny. His name's Andy something, but yeah. No, you're right. He would definitely come back. David Wallace would definitely come back.
So now, there's probably no Michael Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a given. So if none of the characters who come back are going to be boss, who would kind of be the new Michael Scott? Who would be the boss of The Office? And a couple websites had lists of people. I saw some that had suggested a Hugh Laurie. One I really liked was Lisa Kudrow.
Lisa Kudrow would be really funny. That would be really good. I like that.
Really, I thought that was a really good pick. John Hamm was one. I don't know if he would. John Hamm works in small doses in those type of roles. I don't if he would be the lead in a comedy sitcom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was, although he was funny in that split second he was on Parks and Rec.
He was.
That's like the guy who like kept fucking up, and then Leslie fired him.
Yeah.
He's like, I completely understand. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. But I think he's funny, like in those doses. Like I don't know if he would, be the not that he couldn't pull it off. He's amazing, but
yeah.
There's some of the ones they had. The list was pretty good. I like some of the suggestions. I'm gonna go with one of my favorites from SNL. I would really like to see him do this, and he could run into the same issue with like Ed Helms because he's kind of a decently sized star. But Jason Sudeikis,
yeah,
I really like Sudeikis. I think he would be good in that type of role. And he obviously has like the improv experience because that was a huge part of the regular Office too. Like they would have a script, but they'd film the same scene 10 or 12 times, and you'd be able to improv. And a lot of times they'd find some magic in that. So I would like Jason Sudeikis. I like your pick as well.
So I'll before I get to my official pick, going off of SNL too, if Kristen Wiig wasn't such a huge star, she would be perfect in that role.
She would. She's actually in Last Man on Earth.
Really?
Yeah, she just joined this season. She was in like 5 episodes.
And that's an NBC show?
That's Fox.
Oh, that's Fox. Okay.
Jason Sudeikis was in it too.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because Will Forte is the creator, so he gets basically every guest star. Like he's Fred Armisen signed on for next year. Like they're just you can't run out of people though from that show. They're just all so damn good.
Yeah. But my official pick is Ray Romano. I think that I really saw a lot of. I mean, obviously, the reason why I even thought of him is because they have that really funny. Ryan, you there?
Yeah.
They have that really funny scene from The Office when they're trying to hire a new manager. And before they decided on, was that the Will Ferrell, when they decided on Will Ferrell?
Yep.
They brought in Ray Romano as like, and he was just, I think his character there was just so hilarious. And then I saw him in The Big Sick, and he was like very unintentionally funny, like almost like very self-deprecating. And I think that swing of the Office boss from what Michael was and Andy to like this Ray Romano character, who's it seems very similar to his character he was on The Office for that episode or whatever. But so Ray Romano, I think that would be a funny callback to bring him in as the boss.
I do too. He was really funny in that role. He was like the really nervous guy.
Yeah, he's like, what if I don't want this job? Like, what if I wake up and 20 years has gone by and I'm retired, and then this is where I end up.
It was funny. I thought he was really good. That would be another good pick. I hope like it'd be kind of cool to just see the steps. How this progresses if it gets confirmed and then people start
get signed on. Yeah. I agree. I'm super on board for this. It should be really awesome, and it's going to be a hit. This is such it's such a well-known and super popular show. The Office ended right when Netflix and all those like streaming services started getting popular, because it was one of those TV shows that was appointment television. You watch it, every week when it's new, you watch it. It's not a DVR show. It's like everybody watched it live. I can remember that, watching it in college. So it's going to have the audience built in when it comes back, or if it comes back.
Absolutely. And people give it a chance. And if it's not good, it's not good. But yeah. I'm willing to stay positive. But there's no point. I don't understand the people who are like, it's going to suck. Well, why? Well, yeah, if that's your point of view, like, no, obviously it's not going to be the original Office. And that's not the point.
Yeah. And
you give a fresh take on something.
Yeah. And also I see people like, do we really need this? And for all those people who say, do we really need this? I need you to like quickly take your head out of your ass, because if you think TV studios think at all what you care about, like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, they're going to if they think it's going to make money, they're going to make it. So they're not looking to see what people like. Obviously, there's more. If they're going to make it, they think, there's people that are going to want it. So you, one person who think you don't need that, it's going to be made anyway. So why can't you enjoy something that if you enjoyed it the first time around, like more of it, more of one thing, there's sayings that says it's not a good thing, but I think it's always a good thing. More of a great thing is great. So
I agree.
So I'm excited, and you're right. It's going to be exciting seeing like the build up to it and see like who signs on and what it's going to look like. Is it going to be a new Office setting, or is it going to be the old Office? Who knows? I'm open to anything.
As am I.
Yeah, very good. All right, let's move on to a little more insane story that should be covered a lot more than it is.
I don't understand how this is not.
Yeah.
This is not bigger news. So the Department of Defense released a video, and I guess the video is from 2004, and it was from a program called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, which was launched in 2007, and it basically kind of like tracked UFOs. Like, didn't track UFOs because obviously we don't know where they are, but it was a program set up to kind of any footage that they had in like government archives or that was classified, they would kind of put it together so that way one day when a story like this breaks, they have the kind of the footage for proof. Because you can't just run a story, which people have ran forever, that say like, oh, aliens exist, there's UFOs everywhere. People are going to say, show me the video. Well, thanks to this program that was set up, any videos that were caught by like Navy fighter pilots, which is what this video was from, will be able to release in conjunction with the story. And did you watch the video?
I did. So this video came out in 2004, but it was set up in 2007. So this was it set up in a what?
The video was from 2004.
Yeah.
But they set up a program in 2007 that would basically go back through any footage that was found throughout history of, like, you know, what basically things they couldn't identify.
Yeah. And I did see the video.
So when they were going back, they found this video, this Navy fighter pilot video from 2004 that was clearly in like like they've had scientists and fighter pilots say that like the way this thing was moving, like if there were passengers inside, they all would have died. Like the G-force and the way that it was like accelerating and maneuvering, like it couldn't have been just like a plane doing that. People in the plane would have died.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I think we're on the same page. We've talked about this on previous podcasts. We believe in extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, we're both alien guys, for sure.
I don't understand people who don't.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, what's the, well, you know, they're out there. Like, you really think Earth, it's one of 9 or God knows how many planets now, but we're the only one with life. Like, come on.
Right.
It's out there. And this is kind of proof, but it's just like, oh, yeah, okay, that's a cool video. Now let's get back to what's going on with Trump. It's like, no.
No. Let's focus on the aliens.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't, because this program got shut down in 2012.
It's because it was taking up too much money, right? It was like a $5 million budget, which is ridiculous because $5 million is a drop in the bucket for the trillions of dollars we're in debt, right? I mean, there's some more way sillier programs that get more than $5 million. So there's something to that, I think, as well. Like the reason why I got canceled.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other countries that invest a lot of money into this and a lot of money into their space programs, and we're just like going backwards.
Yeah. I am a member of the Planetary Society, and I try and increase my donation every year whenever I can because it's an advocacy group that directly like benefits NASA and like fights for more budget for NASA and does like independent projects that support NASA and all that stuff. I think that stuff's super important, especially for like if an asteroid were ever to be hurling towards Earth, like they would be the ones that would be first to know instead of us, instead of like our government sticking its head up its own ass. Like we need to be looking out for that stuff, but also interesting and fascinating finds like possible aliens visiting Earth. Like that stuff is worth spending money on, I think. I think there's worse way to spend government money.
I agree.
So that's, I mean.
So now, do you think there's going to be more
like
videos like this that'll come out? I mean,
well, there's definitely going to be fakes. So we have to be out there, and you have to be smart about what videos you're believing here. But I really think that video from 2004 is a true, like, sincere alien video. Like that's a space saucer for sure. Which I'm not. It's like a very fascinating and exciting thing, but also it's kind of terrifying. And I don't know. It's just I don't know why this isn't front page news everywhere around the world. This seems like this has more like backing, like legitimate backing, you know what I mean, than any other time in history that we've thought we've seen aliens. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you just like the scary part of it is you still don't know like what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know for sure. I mean, Zach Braff put out a really funny tweet. Did you see that today?
No.
So or maybe it was today or yesterday, whenever this first broke. But he put out a tweet. He said, "Not now, aliens. It's not a good time." So I thought that was funny. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna see an influx of alien activity and videos and things like that. But I don't know. I'm welcome to it. I'm open to it. So
I'm open to it. I hope we get more. You know, I hope it's odd that this is flying so far under the radar, but
yeah.
Hey, maybe that's how the aliens want it.
Yeah,
we're the only ones who know.
Yeah,
we're the only ones who figured it out. It's up to us to save the world.
Absolutely. Maybe I think that might be it. I think you're right. Honestly, if I was an alien, and not to sound too cliche, but if I was an alien and I came to America right now, I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why be here? Why fucking be here? We're going back to our planet where there's like all types of cool shit happening.
Yeah. We're still here.
Yeah. All right, and then our last topic right here on the day, possible XFL return.
So the background of the story is it's weird. It was like a right-wing like political blogger like kind of broke the news, which was odd. And Vince McMahon has this like funded company called Alpha Entertainment. It's separate from WWE. And basically the only statement they would make is that he's exploring investment opportunities across multiple platforms, including football. So when you have Vince McMahon and football together, you jump to the XFL.
Right, of course.
But there's not much news on it. So I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Here's my thoughts. Whatever company, whatever they're going to do with this, if it's a possible football venture in America, I think that I know exactly their angle, and which is they're trying to take viewers, obviously, away from the NFL. And I think that the NFL is in a very vulnerable time right now where something new and fresh could legitimately take people away from the NFL. I know that, like, in recent years, the NFL's ratings have been hurting and things like that. So maybe the XFL was way ahead of its time, and it went up against the NFL when the NFL was just too big to lose. And the XFL was too quirky. But now, in a day and age where there's some people still, there's people wanting, they're like begging for players to be more violent. You know what I mean? In a world where CTE is a very big problem, and the NFL does not want them to be like smashing helmets together. You know what I mean? There might be a place for this new company that doesn't really care, you know? Like if that's what it ends up being, like in order to, place itself to be different, you know?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's, like the old XFL slogan was like, what happened to my football? And like back then it didn't really make sense because the NFL was football and people loved it and it was a juggernaut. But now, you have the anthem protests, you have the concussion lawsuits, which that's the one part where it's like, is a Vince McMahon XFL really going to be? I mean, I do give him credit. WWE is much better with concussions, but like if you're bringing back the original XFL where they ran a dead sprint at each other instead of kicking the ball off to start the game, that's probably not going to help. But I mean, he's a creative guy, and I mean at this point he might just be looking for like investment opportunities. Maybe someone else will take the reins and he'll put some money into it, because he strikes me as a guy like a Jerry Jones or even like a Trump. They want things the way they used to be. They don't want a commissioner who's messing around with all their players. And I mean, I can see Jerry Jones getting involved in this.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
And just, and they were saying because the news was broken by like a right wing, political site, you could get Trump involved. Who knows?
I mean, he is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
He is. So, you never know. And the only news right now, because Vince isn't really making a statement, the only news they have is that there's a projected announcement to be made January 25th. which is the same week as the 25th anniversary of Raw.
Oh,
so 25th anniversary of Raw is that Monday, and the 25th is that Friday.
Wow.
Oh, that Thursday.
Okay.
Or Thursday or Friday, yeah.
Could be a big week for Vince.
Could be a big week. I'm excited because if they do it, you can't really do it during the NFL season. If you're going to come up with a new football league, you'd have to do it during the NFL offseason, play in nicer climates.
Yep.
And just kind of start there.
Yeah.
Because people would watch football, like a different type of football from like March to July.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it all depends on TV. If you can get a TV deal, then you're kind of golden. That's like the name of the game nowadays. So, exciting stuff. Vince McMahon, he's always one step ahead, it seems.
Yeah, and I also feel like talking about going back to you talking about the TV deal. I also think there's probably a lot of opportunity outside of TV, like to piggyback off of it, like live streaming services, Twitter, YouTube, like a subscription service based league where you pay a fee and you watch as many football games as you want when it's on, like live stream it. You know what I mean? Barstool just was very successful with their first Rough and Rowdy pay-per-view, and that was all just internet pay-per-views.
Yeah, and WWE is kind of very familiar with that type of concept too. They just announced like a Facebook Live show that's going to be like mixed tag teams.
Exactly. There you go.
It's going to be available on Facebook Live. So they're very good at that. They're always on, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and just with the network. I mean, they kind of ventured off on their own and were like, look, normal pay-per-view is not where it's at anymore. And we're going to try it with our network. And that's been very successful. So
yeah, very, very successful. So yeah, I mean, I think they're Vince McMahon's the right person to hitch your wagon to when you're going to try and do something like this. And I think that this is the time to do it for sure. So that's very exciting. But I think they have to leave in that if it is football and it is like XFL style football, I think they have to leave in the kickoff method.
I agree.
Where
that was like over tweaking.
Yeah.
They had some cool concepts, but that was not one of them.
There was like a stat out there that it was like 78% of those kickoffs ended in injury for at least one of the players. That's a very high percentage.
It's too high.
It's way too high. It makes sense though. I mean, you're just charging at each other for the football.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, it's wild stuff.
So.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Do you want to have anything else you want to add? We want to talk about what we're going to be doing for TV Club coming up in the new year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you've watched it kind of as it's been happening, but I just finished actually like an hour ago the latest Black Mirror.
Hey, now.
So for those of you who don't know, Black Mirror is a British anthology series, which means the episodes don't really, it's not episodic. They don't go one after the other. Each episode's a different story on Netflix, and it's fantastic. It's like sci-fi and a thriller, and it's really, really well done. And it's 3 seasons on Netflix. The first season has 3 episodes, I think, 3 or 4. The second has 4, and the third one has 6. And the Netflix just announced that season 4, all 6 episodes, will be available next Friday, December 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take next week off for Christmas and New Year's, and we'll be back after the New Year, and we're going to start reviewing 2 episodes per podcast on the TV Club.
Yep, and so 3 episodes, we'll be done with it. Yeah, so that first one we're going to do sometime the week of New Year's Day. So it'll probably be on a Wednesday or Thursdays when we'll get it out, but it'll be the first 2 episodes of the new season of Black Mirror, which I'm super excited for and very excited to talk about. We might even have a special guest for the first episode. Is that true?
I think it's very true. I mean, we watched it together. Holly, my fiance, she huge Black Mirror fan. She watched it. So like Matt, before I did, and it took me a while to warm up to it, just because of the way it's described. I mean, it's a heavy, you're not going to be watching this happy-go-lucky, feel-good show.
Yeah.
But it's just so well done, and it makes you think. I mean, it's very futuristic. It's very sci-fi, but I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for a new show to watch, you can burn through them. I mean, I watched all 3 seasons in like a week and a half. So
It's like the Twilight Zone, but almost every episode makes you want to throw up from sheer terror afterwards.
yes,
So
that is a great way to describe it.
that's it. I mean, it's just like you get this feeling. It's like watching Black Mirror. You get this like lump in your throat sometimes when you're watching. It's like a lot of it's very unsettling, but in a very like creative and like amazing like presentation. It's the way they like the thoughts and things and like ideas that get brought up in Black Mirror it's crazy, and I love it so much. So I'm super excited for the new season. It's gonna be great. So we're taking a week off next week, but then we're coming back and we're doing TV Club again along with some other topics. And I think that's it.
Yeah. So any TV Club fans out there that want to stay along and stay up to date with us, if you haven't watched Black Mirror, you have 2 weeks to watch it. But again, the cool thing is it's not an episodic show.
Yeah.
So if you go into season 4 fresh as a daisy and haven't seen any of it, it's not going to affect anything. But in the 2 weeks between now and the next podcast, if you are looking for something to watch, I would definitely start watching it. And then starting on December 29th, you can watch season 4.
Very good. Ryan, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Matt, same to you. Have a safe trip. Safe travels.
Thank you. If I don't see you. It's going to be great. And we'll be back in the new year. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and all the other. So what other holidays are there that we're going to be missing?
It's Murder Day, which is the 27th of December.
Of course, Murder Day.
Not as celebrated as it's actually just as appropriately.
Not as well attended as Christmas, but it's still out there.
No.
Murder Day. Everybody have a great holiday and a happy new year, and we'll see you in 2018. Lots of exciting stuff coming, as well as Oscar coverage, which is our bread and butter. We've said that a million times. That's going to be coming soon. All right, Ryan. That's gonna do it for today.
Matt, take care. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.